I'm going to talk to you today about content creation, and that's because some of you, in fact, quite a few of you, have been asking me about social media posts, about how I create content, and whether I run a workshop on this. So, before I do a full workshop, I just wanted to jump on here and do a quick 5 minutes or so to give you some tips and tools and some ideas that will get you going. Okay, so my first tip is just have a go. Just have a go. And by that, I don't mean immediately do a live or go on and feel like you have to post what you've recorded if it's your first recording, or even if it's your 10th recording or your 50th. By just have a go, what I mean is take the small step of getting in front of a camera, and that could be your phone. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You don't need tripods. You don't need anything fancy. In fact, my setup here that you can't see right now is that I have my laptop and I've got my camera, a really cheap camera that I picked up years ago, plugged in, and my laptop is sitting on a stack of like jewelry, as in a little jewelry box, because I don't have a tripod and I don't need one. So you can just make a setup with items that you have in your home. But in terms of getting over the threshold of anxiety, nerves, of the fear of being judged, of imposter syndrome, all the things that come up when we put ourselves out there, when we put our face and our name to something, with that, just have a go. So just hit record on your cell phone, on your laptop, whatever you've got, or a fancy camera if you'd like to use one. And then just record for 30 seconds, a minute, a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, an hour, whatever. And the beauty with all of this is that you don't have to post anything. If you don't like the outcome, if you don't like the product, don't post it. It's no different to, I don't know, producing a piece of work. So taking my legal experience as, an example, because that's something that I can speak to. I would be instructed quite often to draft an advice on whatever issue it is that the client had. Now, more often than not, my first draft of the advice would always be a lot longer than the actual finished product. So I may have had, I don't know, an 8 or 10 page advice go down to being 4 or 5 pages. And that's because I'd always get the ideas down, I'd get all the law down that I think I wanted to use. And then if I had the time, I'd step away for a few hours or a few days if I had that luxury. And then I'd go back to it. And then with mature thought and hindsight and further reflection, it would be easier to cut things down. And therefore, it's just easier and more digestible for the consumer, for the client, for whomever you are producing the thing that you're producing. And it's exactly the same with content creation. Have a go, say what you want to say, and then you don't have to post it, or you don't have to post all of it. You can edit. There are some simple edit apps. So there's iMovie, which comes free on the iPhone. I can't speak to Android phones. I'm sorry for those of you out there who use those because I've never used one. Something I really like is CapCut. So that's where I get all the captions and things from, and you can get like little transition things where you slide up, slide down, slide across, whatever. Um, and you can get like little pictures, numbers, all kinds of things that you can put on to your video on top of the actual recording if you want to. It's quite a fun app, so give it a go. There's a free version, so knock yourselves out. Okay, so the second tip is to have an audience in mind. And it might be that you pick a person, an actual person with whom you're friends, perhaps a family member, someone you know, and speak as if you're speaking to them. So it will obviously depend on the type of content that you are producing, and your audience member, your person to whom you're speaking, will depend on what content it is that you're producing. But if you're able to, in your mind, visualize an actual person, someone you know, someone who you care about, and speak to the camera as if you're speaking to them, then it's a way of making it more personable, and it's an easier way for you to speak, because when you're having a conversation with your friend Anne, let's say, then you're not going to be worried about being judged or about things not landing. You're just going to speak in your normal voice, in your normal tone, as if you're speaking to your friend Anne. Okay, my third tip. I've got notes here. So also have notes. Haha, that's another one. Okay, so my third tip is to speak without censorship, which kind of rolls out or into the first tip. And that is don't censor yourself. Just say what it is that comes to mind that you think is going to add value, that you feel you want to say. And then just say it. Again, a bit like drafting that advice. The uncensored version is always, slightly different to the refined version. And with the whole not censoring yourself when you're speaking, you have a choice then with what you do with the video. You could not post it at all. You could share it privately with people you know. You could edit it, so take out the bits that you don't want to include because you've said something that doesn't quite flow or align, or it's just something that you don't necessarily want to have out in public. But by not censoring yourself, you allow the flow to take place, and that allows, I guess, more ideas to come. So when you're flowing, you're not restricting the content, you're not restricting yourself, and one idea can flow into another, into another, into another. So I hope that helps. And I didn't plug. Oh, there you go. So without censoring myself and letting it flow, I didn't plug. Haha. What a word. My free self confidence guide. So if you are interested in downloading that, it's down in the comments below. What that link does is that it takes you to my Wix website. You'll enter your name and your email address, and you'll be added to my email list, which has a weekly newsletter. So I produce a weekly newsletter, and I include tips in there on self confidence and things like imposter syndrome, self trust. Um, and what the confidence guide does as well is that it has what I think is a fun quiz. So, I mean, if you're like me and I love a quiz, I also used to love like multiple choice things. I hated exams, but where there was one that was a multiple choice exam, I'd, always be slightly more game for it than, any other type of exam or test or whatever. So, yeah, if you're into quizzes and ticking boxes and things, then go check out the quiz. And what it does is that it gives you points at the end, and that's not a judgment scale or anything like that. It's just to guide you to where you are on your confidence scale based on your answers. And then you will get tips on how to uplevel your confidence just one notch. And you can use that to hopefully help your confidence. All right, that's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.